Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Meta, dropped a bombshell. He revealed that the Biden-Harris administration pressured Facebook to censor content. This revelation is deeply troubling and has sent shockwaves through the tech and political communities. It strikes at the heart of free speech, a cornerstone of American democracy, and raises questions about the integrity of our institutions. The government should not dictate what information citizens can access and share. This principle is fundamental to a free society. This case raises serious concerns about government overreach and its potential to stifle dissent. The implications are far-reaching. The pressure exerted on Facebook during the COVID-19 pandemic is particularly alarming. It was a time when accurate information was crucial. This was a time of heightened anxiety and uncertainty, where people were desperate for reliable news and updates. People turned to social media for information and connection, relying on these platforms to stay informed and in touch with loved ones. Instead of fostering open dialogue, the government sought to control the narrative, undermining trust in both the media and the government. This is unacceptable in a free society. The right to free speech is enshrined in the Constitution and must be protected. We must resist any attempt to weaponize censorship against dissenting voices. Vigilance is required to safeguard our freedoms. Social media platforms like Facebook have become the modern public square. They are where people go to debate ideas, share news, and connect with others. This makes them powerful tools for shaping public opinion. The government understands this power. Its attempt to influence content moderation on Facebook is a direct assault on the free flow of information. When the government can dictate what is acceptable speech on these platforms, it undermines our ability to engage in informed debate. It creates an environment of fear and self-censorship. People may hesitate to express their true opinions for fear of being silenced or punished. This chilling effect has a corrosive impact on democracy. The Biden-Harris administration crossed a line by pressuring Facebook to censor content. This sets a dangerous precedent. It empowers the government to silence views it deems inconvenient or harmful. This is a slippery slope. Today, it might be COVID-19 information. Tomorrow, it could be any topic the government wants to control. The First Amendment protects our right to freedom of speech. This right is not absolute, but it requires a high bar for government intervention. The government must demonstrate a compelling interest to justify censoring speech. In the case of Facebook, no such compelling interest existed. The government's actions were a clear overreach of its authority. Zuckerberg's admission sheds light on the extent of the government's pressure campaign, revealing a complex and troubling relationship between the state and social media platforms. In his letter to the House Judiciary Committee, he revealed specific instances where Facebook removed content at the behest of the Biden-Harris administration, detailing the direct influence exerted on the platform. This included posts that questioned the efficacy of masks and lockdowns, which were hotly debated topics during the pandemic. Additionally, content that expressed skepticism about the safety of COVID-19 vaccines was also targeted, sparking further controversy and debate among users. The fact that Facebook, a private company, succumbed to this pressure is deeply concerning. It underscores the vulnerability of even the largest tech companies to governmental influence. This situation raises significant questions about the platform's commitment to free speech principles and the integrity of its content moderation policies. It also highlights the immense power the government wields over tech giants, a power that can shape public discourse and influence the flow of information. This power must be checked to ensure a balanced and fair digital landscape. We need stronger safeguards to prevent government overreach in the digital realm, protecting the rights and freedoms of individuals in an increasingly connected world. Section 5. Silencing dissent. The censorship of COVID-19 information had a chilling effect on public discourse. It prevented people from accessing a full range of perspectives on the pandemic. This was particularly harmful because the science surrounding COVID-19 was rapidly evolving. Silencing dissenting voices prevented open debate and scrutiny of government policies. Moreover, the censorship disproportionately impacted conservative voices. This fueled distrust in both the government and social media platforms. It created a perception that these institutions were working together to silence dissent and control the narrative. This perception, whether accurate or not, further eroded public trust. Section 6. Eroding trust. The government's actions have had a corrosive impact on public trust. When people believe that information is being censored to serve a political agenda, they lose faith in institutions. This is dangerous for democracy. A healthy democracy requires an informed and engaged citizenry. That engagement depends on trust. The erosion of trust in traditional media outlets, coupled with the government's meddling in social media, has created a fertile ground for misinformation and conspiracy theories. When people feel like they cannot trust the information they are getting from official sources, they are more likely to turn to alternative sources, regardless of their credibility. Section 7. A chilling effect. The censorship of COVID-19 information sets a dangerous precedent. It is not just about controlling the narrative during a health crisis. It creates a chilling effect that extends far beyond the pandemic. This effect can stifle free speech and open dialogue in many areas of society. If the government can censor information about public health, what is to stop it from censoring information about other topics? This could include political dissent, environmental issues, or social justice movements. This is a slippery slope that we must avoid. Once we start down this path, it becomes increasingly difficult to turn back. The chilling effect of censorship is particularly acute for journalists and activists. These individuals are often at the forefront of uncovering truths and advocating for change. These individuals often rely on social media to share information and connect with audiences. Social media platforms are crucial for their work, providing a space to reach a wide audience quickly. When they fear that their content could be removed, or that they could be punished for their views, they are less likely to speak out on important issues. This self-censorship can lead to a lack of diverse perspectives in public discourse. This undermines accountability and transparency. Without the free flow of information, it becomes harder to hold those in power accountable and to ensure that the public is well informed. Section 8. Defending our freedoms. We must defend our right to free speech, both online and offline. This means holding the government accountable for its actions. The Biden-Harris administration's pressure on Facebook was a blatant attempt to stifle dissent and control the narrative. We cannot let this stand. Congress must investigate the full extent of the government's involvement in social media censorship. We need to know who was involved, what pressure was exerted, and what content was removed. This investigation should be thorough and transparent. Those responsible for violating our First Amendment rights must be held accountable. Section 9. Transparency and accountability. Social media companies also have a responsibility to protect free speech. They must resist government pressure to censor content. This means being transparent about their content moderation policies and decisions. They should provide clear justifications for removing content and offer users a meaningful appeals process. Furthermore, social media companies should be held accountable for their actions. They should not be allowed to operate with impunity. We need stronger regulations to ensure that these platforms are not being used to silence dissent or manipulate public opinion. This includes preventing government overreach and ensuring that content moderation decisions are fair and unbiased. Section 10. Safeguarding democracy. The future of our democracy depends on our ability to engage in free and open debate. This requires protecting our right to free speech both online and offline. We must resist all attempts to censor dissenting voices or control the narrative. We must demand transparency and accountability from both the government and social media companies. The Biden-Harris administration's actions were a dangerous overreach of power. We must learn from this episode and take steps to prevent it from happening again. Our freedoms are precious and hard-won. We must not take them for granted. Given the role of Kamala Harris in these violations of our constitutional rights, it is imperative that she not be elected as President of the United States in the 2024 election. The only viable option to protect our freedoms and restore trust in our government is to vote for Donald Trump. He is our only option to defend our freedoms and ensure a return to honest, transparent governance. As we stand at this crossroads, we must remember the lessons of the past and make informed choices for our future. Our democracy, our freedoms, and our very way of life depend on it. Let us unite to safeguard the principles that define us as a nation. In the words of Thomas Jefferson, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. We must remain vigilant and proactive in defending our rights, ensuring that our voices are heard and our freedoms are preserved for generations to come. Together, we can protect our future.